Now, the ultimate decision that I'm asking the committee to make this evening is to defer the application, and I'll get into that a bit as I go through my report. So essentially, we've done a complete review and vetted the application for compliance with the 4 tests of the Planning Act. Had to fall short in establishing that all 4 tests were met by virtue of provision in the provincial policy statement that does not allow for development to occur if safe access cannot be provided. And so I did summarize what that means. Essentially, there's this particular property is located on the tip of a peninsula that is accessed via a road that crosses over several properties. There are portions of that road that will be inundated during a flood, and the intent is to show that there was no more than 1 foot of inundation during a flood. More than 1 foot would constitute would take it beyond what would be defined as safe access, right? So the idea is that people can escape along that route should there be a flood. So that at this point hasn't been proven. So just to provide the committee with a bit of an update, I have spoken with the Conservation Authority. They will attend the site. We've asked the applicant to actually do a bit more homework, but I have spoken to the CA, and they will attend the site to see just a ground truth, what sort of the magnitude of what might be the potential issue there. So essentially, aside from that, we did find that the application was in general conformity with the intent and purpose of our official plan and zoning bylaw. Was consistent with the neighborhood in terms of its construction scope and scale, and so we found it to meet the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, as well as being desirable for the development of the area. And fourthly, we did consider it to be minor in nature. We did hear from the Conservation Authority, who provided the input as it relates to the safe access. We also heard from First Nations. They did request that an archaeological study be completed, and we did concur with their observations in that context. So as I noted earlier on, we are proposing that in this context, the application be deferred until such time as the applicant can do a bit more research and we can establish conclusively whether or not safe access can be provided to the site.
All right, thank you. Is there, I have to ask the Deputy Clerk, do we have anyone here to speak to this application?
There's no one here to speak on this application.
Thank you very much. And have we heard from any proponents to speak in favor of it?
Nope, we don't have anyone here in favor or in opposition of this application, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. So I'll come to the committee to see who would like to move a deferral on this. Anita and Donna, is there any questions from the committee? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? That's carried, thank you. Rob, can we go on to the next application, please?
Yes, by all means, Madam Chair. Next application is application A15-20. It relates to property at 1324 Youngs Cove Road. And the applicant is seeking an increase in the lot coverage maximum of 5% for accessory buildings to 9%. And an increase in the lot coverage maximum for all buildings of 20% to 21.2%. And he's requesting that, or they are requesting that, in order to permit the construction of a 420 square foot deck. So I noted in my report, Madam Chair, that the deck itself is required to provide access to an above ground pool. The property does have several existing decks and other accessory buildings, which is adding to the need for the variance as it relates to lot coverage for accessory buildings. In addition, there's a dwelling and other where when we do the math on the total lot coverage, that is exceeded by 1.2% as well. All that being said, we did vet the application for compliance with the 4 tests of the Planning Act and found it to be in general conformance with the intent and purpose of our official plan and zoning bylaw. We also found that the proposal was appropriate for the development and use of the buildings and structures. Certainly, as relates to conformity with the built environment in that community, and fourthly, that we did consider the application to be minor in nature. We did hear from Curve Lake First Nation. They didn't request that there be archaeological study done, but they did say that if there was ever anything found as part of the excavation related to the columns and below grade work, that they would want to know, of course, if there were any artifacts uncovered. And the Conservation Authority did note that they may be in a regulated area, and if that were the case, they would want the applicant to obtain a permit for construction and fill activity. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Deputy Clerk, is there anyone to speak to this application?
Madam Chair, we have the applicants, Craig and Laura Jackson here.
All right, do you wish to add anything to the report?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
I would just like to actually note, just on the actual numbers, the percentages here. We're adding a 420 square foot deck, and our lot, based on the survey dimensions, is basically around 19,000 square feet. So the deck in percentage is only a 2.2% coverage. So we're going from 5% to 7.2%, not to 9%. And it also, the total lot coverage, I think there must have been a mistake somewhere, because including our above ground pool and the new deck that we are proposing to build, I think we're only going to be around 19.8% of total lot coverage, which is under the 20. But like I said, I've done the math a few times, but that's all I wanted to note. I understand I would still need a minor variance for 0.1 going to 7.2%, but just wanted to clarify those numbers in case anyone had a problem with it.
All right, is there anything else?
No, that is it.
Okay, thank you. Rob, did you want to speak to that?
Yeah, so I've essentially derived the numbers from the submissions that were made. So you know, I guess in essence, if we're suggesting here that the lot coverage will be less than 9%, we can certainly have the decision reflect what the applicant considers to be the correct number, 7.2. We're going in the right direction, of course, so that wouldn't be an issue. And same would apply to the total lot coverage. Yeah, so I guess again, we did summarize the lot areas, and we did try to derive what the footprint area of the various structures located on the property were, and these are the numbers that we came to. So in any event, I guess my suggestion would be let's make a decision based on the math as it's been provided on the notice of public hearing, and that would certainly provide sufficient area for relief for the applicant to carry on with the work that they're proposing.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else, Deputy Clerk, that would want to speak in favor of this application?
There's no one else here in favor or in opposition of the application.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll come to the committee. Are there any questions or comments? Donna?
Yes, through you, Rob. Rob, if you did the calculation again, would you change it? Because they might want to add something else to the property in a future date, and they might need that wiggle room.
Well, I think what's being suggested is that we're approving something that would give them more opportunity, right? So I think Mr. Jackson has suggested that what he'll end up with in terms of lot coverage for accessory buildings will be 7.2%, and what the notice is providing is a 9% relief, right? So it would certainly give them more flexibility as it stands. Yeah.
So if he wanted to add something else, he wouldn't have to do another minor variance. If he wanted to do.
Yeah, so there is a proviso that says essentially that, you know, ultimately he's going to develop the site in general conformity with the plan that was submitted, right? So there's some, I mean, there's some flexibility certainly, but
Okay.
Any other questions, Donna?
Yeah, just one small question. I'm sure it's fine, but I see we have a hand-drawn site plan, and I assume that's acceptable, Rob?
yeah, there is a survey of the property, the proper survey that we use to kind of vet the hand-drawn submission.
Okay.
So we could verify it against an accurate survey, right? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anita? Unmute.
Sorry, I was pushing the wrong button. This is more just a general observation with regards to Curve Lake First Nation, that they seem to have taken a different tack with this particular application, because normally I think, Rob, you sort of determine through the Ministry of Sport and Culture or whatever, whether or not it meets the threshold. So is there a reason that Curve Lake has made this particular, taken this particular tack as far as how this is worded in the report?
No, I don't know precisely why. I think you're right in that. I think they took more time to review the application, and I think they saw that, you know, the property has been largely developed, and what they're proposing here are several post holes, right, to support the deck. Won't be a large excavation, and so they took a more measured approach and said, look, we're not, you know, I think in this context, it's not warranted to do an archaeological study. It'd be sufficient that, you know, the applicant, should they find anything, that they would contact Curve Lake, and that one of their elders would attend and determine whether or not that there's an issue, right? And I think that's reasonable. I think most reasonable people would do that in any event, but they just wanted to reiterate that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, I'm looking for someone to move. Jerry and Donna, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. There are no deferred matters or correspondence. We'll move on to the minutes of June the 9th. I have a mover. Jerry, Andy and Anita, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. And adjournment. Jerry and Donna, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Our council meeting will commence in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening, colleagues. It being 6 o'clock, I'll now call this meeting to order. Thank you very much, all. We would begin by asking people to please pause for a moment of silence so that council, staff, and members of the public can quietly reflect on our duty to the community we are trying to serve. Thank you. Members of the public, staff, presenters, and members of council, please be advised that meetings are broadcast and recorded and made available on the internet. Colleagues, is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Madam Clerk, please note that none were noted. We'll then move on to the minutes. The minutes of June the 9th have been circulated. What is council's wish? Anita moves, Sherry seconds it. Any comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? Thank you. And we have a deputation this evening. We are pleased to welcome Julie Dillon and Sarah, who are going to be presenting the annual report of the library. Julie is the chair, and she's here direct from her somewhere. So thank you. I just lost you on the screen with this coming up here. So, but I know that you're out there, Julie, and we look forward to hearing your report, and the floor is yours. Are you there, Julie?
Here we go. Just a second. I think, are we good now? Okay. Mayor Mitchell, councillors and administrative staff of Selwyn Township, good evening. Each year, the Selwyn Library Board presents an annual report, and it is my privilege as the chair to present the report for 2019. You will have received a copy of the annual report in your information packages for today's meeting, and the report will be available to all members of the public through the library website. There are a few highlights of the past year that I'd like to emphasize. We have continued to see growth in library memberships with, oh, I think we're a little too fast in the slideshow. You'll receive, sorry. We have continued to see growth in library memberships with 859 new members in 2019. We currently have 8,217 library card holders, which indicates that about 1 in 2 of our population have a library card. In comparison to similarly sized communities, this is a strong level of engagement within the community, and I think we should be proud of that in Selwyn Township. Though we have continued to see strong interest in our physical book collections, there's been an ongoing trend toward heightened interest and usage of technology. In 2019, there was an 11% growth in digital checkouts, along with more virtual visits. Understanding the importance of maintaining a strong and accessible infrastructure for digital resources, the library switched to the Cloud Library platform at the end of 2019, which has resulted in improved access to electronic books and electronic audiobooks. In addition, we were fortunate to receive a Community Foundations grant last year that was reinvested in technology training and support. Through the funds provided, we were able to hire a student to provide a combination of technology workshops and one-on-one sessions, reaching 120 people and resulting in a 13% growth in computer and technology support in 2019. And we've posted here a testimonial from one of these sessions. In light of the need for usage of virtual resources during the current COVID-19 crisis, I think that many of our community members, especially seniors, were glad to have utilized the computer training and support services throughout the library. Though digital usage is on the rise, there is no doubt that our community continues to seek out opportunities to connect on a social level through our library community hub. We have continued to see an increase in the number of attendees at our library programs over the past year, with close to 10,000 people attending them in 2019. There were many offerings for all age groups, including the popular movie nights, and library book clubs for adults, along with baby and toddler story times, Silver Birch and Red Maple reading clubs, all booked up for tweens and teens, and Homeschool Connect, to name just a few of the 581 programs offered. We also added new and exciting programs for each age group. Children's programming remains a cornerstone of the Selwyn Public Library system. Toddler and baby story times are always popular. And the 2019 Silver Birch Reading Club had its largest ratio of readers eligible to vote, and Red Maple and the teen program were both a resounding success. Homeschool Connect held an incredible art show and was very active in community service projects. In addition to our in-house programs, our staff has been very active in community outreach with child and youth programming. Through strengthening connections with local schools, the library was invited to run many school-based programs. For example, we partnered with Lakefield District Public School to offer a maker experience, Ozabot workshops, and STEAM programs to multiple classes. Always evolving, materials from the now defunct Reading Buddies program in Ennismore were used to create literacy kits with games, books, and flashcards, and these are now circulating for families. Programming that enhanced relationships between seniors and youth have remained a focus as well. A drop in family story time at Regency Retirement Residence remains a hit for the young and the seniors, along with a Grand Pals Pen Pal program in partnership with St. Martin's School. We were also able to support housebound seniors through a home delivery service in collaboration with Community Care. Though children's programming is a strong focus for staff, there's been a concerted effort to increase adult programming. One very popular addition was the Seniors Dance Program. Originally offered in the spring through an initiative with Canada's National Ballet School, this program offered a fun and unique opportunity to improve mobility and fitness. Other programs included genealogy, gardening, photography, and craft workshops, along with movie nights, Scrabble Club, and book clubs, to name just a few. A popular new addition has been the monthly coffee house at Lakefield Library. This monthly evening event invites local poets and musicians to participate in an open mic setting. Library staff and volunteers are busy each year with festivals and events in our community. Involvement at the Santa Claus Parade, the Shamrock Festival, the Lakefield Literary Festival, and farmers markets are now a regular occurrence. In August 2019, the library added a new addition, the Read a Book on a Bench Day. The community was invited to take advantage of the 50 public benches along the Lakefield Trail to sit and read a book, and special guests were invited for public readings at the local little libraries along the trail. Tackle share and pickleball kits were also loaned out for those interested in recreational activities. And the Lakefield Library, with the assistance of the Lakefield Horticultural Society, developed a pollinator garden in the library's flower bed in 2019. This garden is now maintained by library staff with the help of teen volunteers and contributes to Selwyn's designation as a bee city. Bridgenorth Library also held the annual Spark Photography exhibit in April, with 4 regular artists displaying their work. The Bridgenorth branch also welcomed a number of local artists to display their work on a rotating basis in 2019, and we've had a very positive response from the public for these displays. As you are aware, one of our strongest resources within the library system, without a doubt, are our volunteers. We could not possibly offer the range and diversity of programs and outreach initiatives without the support of our volunteers, both in the library and in the new to use stores. In 2019, volunteers contributed over 13,000 hours within libraries and an additional over 4,000 hours in our stores. This amounts to about $396,000 worth of labor if you looked at it just as a minimum wage job. In addition, $34,487 were raised in our stores to support enhanced services within the library. And I want to take a moment to offer our deepest gratitude to our volunteers for this commitment. Though we had plenty of exciting news for 2019, we faced some challenges along the way. Provincial funding cuts to SOLS, or the Southern Ontario Library Service, led to the suspension of the interlibrary loan service in the spring. We have, however, resumed this service to the relief of the community in October 2019, though it comes at some financial cost. We have also had staffing adjustments as we replaced our Ennismore librarian in November when she joined the Peterborough system. But we now currently have a wonderful new librarian, Sarah Jones in Ennismore, and I'd like to take a moment to welcome Sarah. One of our major initiatives as a board was to develop a new strategic plan. We hired a SOLS consultant last year to facilitate the process, and our board is now working on the final steps of our new strategic plan. However, circumstances resulting from COVID-19 have delayed our timeline, and we now hope to present our new plan to council and the public this fall. The pandemic has also had a significant impact on how we operate as a library. Though our physical locations have been closed during the pandemic, our librarians have been very busy increasing the number of virtual programs and resources available to our patrons. Staff have been busy developing and implementing virtual programs geared to all ages, offering online trivia nights, story times, book clubs, book talks, and book reviews, outreach with St. Martin's school classes through their virtual learning platform, along with virtual technology workshops and so much more. We've also been able to temporarily expand the number of electronic resources available to our patrons to include electronic magazines, additional electronic databases, as well as access to a number of additional children's ebooks. I would like to take the time now as well to offer congratulations to Sarah Hennessy and the rest of our staff for their diligence and creativity in the response to the community needs. They were up and running very quickly with the virtual platforms, and it felt seamless to the community. COVID-19 now also challenges us to assess our new strategic plan through a different lens. We've established protocols to reopen as safely as possible, and curbside pickup and delivery started as of June the 1st, with staff providing the service. The reopening of services creates challenges for our senior volunteers in particular. We are taking a cautious approach to reintroducing volunteers to protect their safety. However, staff have remained in regular contact with our volunteers and are keeping them informed of the ongoing changes. Unfortunately, this also means that our annual spring volunteer appreciation dinner has been canceled. We have also postponed our volunteer service recognition awards to 2021, and we've sent each volunteer a thank you letter and a token of our appreciation in the meantime. I would like to take this moment to publicly thank our CEO, Sarah Hennessy, for her strong leadership this past year.
You seem to have lost the audio there, Julie.
Oh, hello? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. I would just like to take this moment to publicly thank our CEO, Sarah Hennessy, for her strong leadership this past year.
Tanya, is there
staff.
anything you can do?
Pardon, Andy, are you having a hard time hearing Julie?
Tanya?
You can't hear anybody.
You can't hear anybody.
We're all,
No, we're all, I can.
Okay.
We're okay.
can you hear me?
So we
Yeah.
can hear you.
Jerry,
I
can you
will
hear
call
me?
Andy.
Yes.
Okay. So Julie, can you speak again?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Okay, can anybody hear Julie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hear, okay, I've lost Julie for whatever reason. Okay, but I take it, Julie, you've completed your presentation.
I just have like few more sentences left.
Okay, well, go ahead and finish it for the rest of council.
Okay. I was just taking a moment to thank Sarah Hennessy, our CEO, for her strong leadership this past year, as well as our staff, and most especially our volunteers. We hope to see you again in the library soon. And I would like to thank council and all the administrative staff for your support this past year and for your leadership through the COVID crisis. We are very fortunate to live in such a supportive community. I know that not all communities are like ours, and I just want to thank you for your time tonight. That's all.
Thank you. Colleagues, comments, questions? I see Anita first, then Sherry.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations on all the awesome programming. And, you know, as always, our volunteers are doing a great job. Our staff.
Anita, I'm just going to stop you for a minute. And I'm going to go over to Sherry. I have no audio. I don't know what's going on. And if staff are on the line, maybe they can email me. But Sherry, you take the chair because I can't hear anybody.
I can't see anybody.
So, yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations on all the great programming and the innovation and the flexibility, especially during this COVID-19 time. And I just want to say congratulations and thank you for all the awesome work that you and the volunteers and the staff do for our township.
Thanks, Anita. Donna?
Yes, I just somehow disappeared. Now I came back. That was an excellent presentation, Julie, as usual. Thank you so much. There was just, I had a couple of questions. Have we already mailed out the gift certificates to the volunteers?
Sarah?
I can speak to that. Kathy was holding off on purchasing from one of the restaurants, so I spoke to her yesterday and she is purchasing them this week. We have all the envelopes and the mailing labels ready to go. So once we have those, we'll get them to Judy.
Okay, perfect. And one more question. There was a logo on the screen that Julie was showing that I didn't even know what it was. Mango. What is that?
Yeah, that's actually one of our regular electronic databases. So that's a language database. So you can log into that one remotely from home and have access to a whole bunch of different language resources. It's a really great resource.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other question? Seeing none, I'm a big user of the library. You know that, Sarah, and I've been using the curbside pickup, and I really appreciate the this extra service that the library is offering. And I know there are other members of the public who are doing it as well. It's seamless. It's great. Thank you so much for adding this because of COVID.
Thank you for the feedback.
Anything? Sarah?
Sorry, pardon?
Did you want to add anything?
No, I just said thank you for the feedback. I think that the page, it's nice to be able to serve our community in some form. So this is, yeah, another way that we're able to do that. So I think that our patrons have been really appreciative of it.
Great. So if there are no other questions, can I have someone move to receive? Thank you very much, Anita and Donna. All in favor? Thank you very much for coming, ladies, and it was a great presentation.
Thank you very much.
Here,
Take care.
stay safe.
Okay. You too.
Andy, are you with us?
Jerry, I've just brought Andy back. We'll just see if his audio is working. Just one moment.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I can hear you now, so I can't see you, but I can hear you.
It's going to be hard.
Just give me 1 second here. There we go. Okay, can you see me? You can hear me. Okay, so the deputation is done. Good. Just before I go on, let me just thank the library for everything that it does, all of our volunteers, and all of the effort that's put in. We have a very unique service, and it serves our community well. So thank you, everybody, very much. We'll now move from deputations on to question period. Madam Chair, were there any questions submitted?
There were no questions submitted.
Okay, we will then move on to municipal officers and staff reports. The first one is an update on our multimedia marketing campaign. And Angie, do you want to speak to this?
Yes, I can. Just wanted to follow up from the previous meeting on June the 9th. Council did endorse the multimedia campaign in terms of the value, about $70,000 in campaign value. There were a couple of follow-up items that Council did request some further information about. One was with respect to the Facebook media buy. So the report outlines the different ways that Facebook can be used to promote a campaign. In terms of the actual cost, it's definitely related to advertising, not a boost. So that could be where maybe some of the not necessarily concerns, but some of the questions were coming from in terms of the value. I think as well that the fact that the campaign is over 5 months also contributes to the overall value of Facebook advertising, so that you can see really Facebook valuation is a little bit different than the traditional type of advertising that we do. It's based on basically the more money you can put into advertising, the more frequently you will see the ad. So Adrian is on the call this evening and is happy to take any specific questions that council may have related to the Facebook component, but I hope that this maybe will clarify a little bit for council the valuation of the Facebook component. I may just move on to the TV advertising, and then we could take some questions from council. And as I said, Adrian's on the call as well to answer any questions from council. In terms of the TV advertising, there was a desire from council not to do any type of advertising on the weekends, so on Saturday and Sunday. So the idea would be to shift those, shift advertising to weekdays and to the news times. So there are a couple of options for council to consider. There was a suggestion that maybe we could try a monthly campaign, or conversely, there is a price there for a 5-month campaign. You can see that when you commit to something that's a little bit of a longer program, you will get a better value in terms of the individual advertising costs. So again, I hope that this clarifies some of the questions that council had, and happy to take questions, or certainly Adrian can take some specific questions as well.
Thank you, Angie. Colleagues, does anybody have any questions or concerns they want to raise? Jerry?
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification too, Angie. One thing I haven't noticed in here is the Twitter. So Facebook basically is similar to Twitter. It's about the shares and getting it out there, and they told 2 people and they told 2 people, and away it goes. So I think with Facebook, it's going to work if you put a specific restaurant there, and then people who know them end up, forwarding and sharing and sharing and sharing. But with our Twitter, I think we can do the same thing there. Take the same advertising that we're doing there, put it on our Twitter, but make sure we use Peterborough County, use Kawartha Chamber, put their hashtags in there, the thingamajiggers are called. Put them in there. That way it hits their audience as well. And then it just spirals from there. Again, it's like 1 grain of rice on a checkerboard, and then 2, then 4, then 8, then and it just goes on and on. So I think that's important. As far as the TV goes, though, I like the 5-month program. If we're going to be making a decision on that, I like the 5 months.
Thank you. Donna, and then Anita.
Yes, looking at the comparators for the television ads, I was one of the proponents for maybe doing it just 5 days a week and in the prime slots. But when you compare the cost per ad, I think the 5-month, 7 days a week is the best value for our dollar.
Thank you, Donna. Anita?
Yeah, my only question is what's the timeline of once we begin this program? When would the actual airing of the commercials ads start?
Yeah, so the TV advertising, because we were waiting for council direction, we haven't been able to start on the production of those advertising pieces yet. Adrian, maybe you might have some familiarity in terms of how much time it would take to get an ad together.
It just depends on what the ad is. If we're using like the drone footage, Megan and I had talked about the drone footage that's already available. If we're using still images that we already have, or does Global have to come out and film? So it just depends on what the ad is going to be.
Sherry, did you have a comment? No? Okay, Jerry, and then back to Donna.
Thank you. I guess to Adrienne or to Angie. So once we get these ads done, we've got proprietary rights to that. So then we could put it on our Twitter and our Facebook as well, correct? And then boost it out from there and hopefully get the shares and the retweets and all that.
Yes, absolutely. You can put it on YouTube, Facebook, on your website. Yeah, anywhere you want, they're yours.
Donna?
Yes, through you to Adrian. So you would be working with staff to determine the types of ads and the timeframes for them?
Yes, Megan and I will be working together.
Okay. And you probably would start with the quickest and easiest ones to get it out there, and then the more complex ones would come later, I expect.
I'm not sure. I'd probably start on the complex ones, actually get those rolling if they're going to take a long time. If that's going to take a couple of weeks to get going, I could get Facebook up and running right away. But I would want to get started on the TV advertising to get it produced.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments? I don't see any. Do I have a motion to accept the recommendation? Jerry, seconded by Donna. All those in favor?
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
It's the sorry. Yes, it's the 5-month campaign.
Sorry, which 5-month campaign? Because Donna indicated she liked the original 7 days a week, and Jerry indicated he liked the no weekend one.
Jerry?
Sorry, I'm working two mics. Yeah, the recommendation is Monday to Friday. Sorry. Yes, I like the Monday to Friday. Sorry. Yes, I see. I missed the or. Monday to Friday. I like.
And Donna liked the 7 days a week one, right, Donna?
You want me to start singing that song 7 days a week by the Beatles?
That's 8 days a week.
Oh, is it 8? Okay, I won't sing it then. Yes, I did think 7 days had more value. I guess it depends on the other council members.
I'm good with either one, either the 7-day or the 5-day over the 5 months.
I just did a bit of math here to get 14 more news ads by going 5 days a week. It costs you 28 less ads. So that's what in essence you do. You get 14 additional ads in the news week cycle, but you lose 28 ads. So that's really the equation. So, but I'm happy whatever the will of council is. Jerry?
I would just ask a simple question to everybody. Over the weekend, who was inside watching checks on Saturday or Sunday afternoon? Seeing none, Monday to Friday might be a good idea, I thought.
Donna?
But we're paying $42 an ad if we do it. If I'm reading this right, if we're doing it Monday to Friday and we're only paying $26 an ad 7 days a week. So it's not only more ads, it's fewer ads and it's more money. Well, it ends up to be the same amount of money in the end, but we have fewer ads and each one costs more.
Could I, Sherry, go ahead.
Thank you, through you. I'm in favor of the 5-month campaign, 7 days a week. Get more bang for your buck. And maybe we aren't watching these ads on the weekend, but there will be people watching them that will take advantage and be buyers. So,
If I could, just before I get to you, Anita, could I ask Adrian for a professional perspective? I've got to admit, this is way outside my scope of expertise. So, Adrian, what if you were providing some advice, what would it be?
It's really up to you. I would maybe the ones during the news, the 5 month. I guess, I mean, I watch global news every day, or Monday to Friday anyway. So, and I think it's right. I mean, it's summertime. People are outside on the weekends. They might not be watching TV.
Thanks, Adrian. Anita?
Yeah, so I was just recalling that Survivor is usually on Wednesday nights, and I watch it on Global, and then I'd often see local commercials. There's other programs that I watch that are on Global. So yeah, I actually think I agree with Donna that we would go, so 27 during news times, there's 30 days in a month. So there'd be like three or 4 days where the ad would not run, but then there would be a number of ads, like almost 2/3 of the month would be running during premium time slots. So actually, I think I would agree with Donna. 7 day a week.
7 day week. Sherry said 7, Donna said 7, Anita said 7, Jerry said 5. So then let's have the motion say 7 and we'll vote on it that way. Okay? And then Jerry can, okay, all those in favor of the 7 option, raise your hands. Okay, so that's carried. We're done with that. Thank you. And this is great. We're going to have an aggressive marketing of our community, our businesses in our community. This is something that's really important to do at this time. And so thank you to staff for putting this together. Thank you to council for supporting this initiative. I think it's going to make us an important difference for our community and for our businesses. So thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing the campaign begin to roll out. So thank you. Now we are on to Rob on a report to deal with restaurant patio protocol. And Rob, did you want to speak to that?
I can, Mr. Chair, very, very briefly. Essentially, I provided the report to provide council with a bit of a summary of what we've been dealing with as it relates to changes in the province's view of the current shutdown. So council would know that on the 12th of June, we got into phase 2 of the shutdown, or sorry, the reopening process, I guess, more accurately, which has loosened certain rules, and these rules have applied particularly to restaurants. So we had to make some decisions as to how best to address some of the questions we were getting from our restaurant owners. Essentially, they're given an opportunity to expand their operations outside, which means that those who have patios are using them and would like to expand them, and those who don't have them wanted to create them. So we had a number of questions, and we had to kind of make certain decisions. So we're asking for council to endorse the approach that we took, which was essentially to, for the time being, for I guess this outdoor patio season, that we would essentially suspend any zoning bylaw provisions that relate to parking supply and any site plan review criteria that would typically apply to a reduction of parking, which is essentially where the patios are going. We did talk to some of our restaurateurs who are considering using public property. And that still may be on the table at some point, but for now, it's primarily essentially expanding patios into parking lots. So that's one of the requests that we've made, is that council allows us to carry on with that particular mindset. And we came to that conclusion because of what we understood council's priorities to be, certainly as it relates to the health of our business community. And the other aspect that we wanted to council to allow would be if indeed we came to receive an application from a restaurateur who wanted to expand on public property, we would want the authority to execute any agreements that might be necessary in that particular context, and we thought the clerk would be the right authority to have that authority delegated to. So we're looking for council's direction as relates to those items.
Thank you, Rob. Sherry had a comment.
Yes, thank you, through you. I agree with the protocol that Rob is recommending, but what's happened with this has created a different problem that we didn't expect. So because people have been experiencing COVID cabin fever, I call it, and with the GTA still in stage 1, we've had a lot of people come up here. And I know we're going to hear about it when we're dealing with the motion later in the meeting, but people have been wanting to get out in the fresh air, and they have wanted to cool down and have a meal on a patio. And I think that maybe now that the GTA is going to be going into stage 2, it might slow down a little bit. But I had a call from a local restaurant owner last week in a panic because his was the only public washroom opened in Lakefield, it seemed, and customers and non-customers were going into his establishment wanting to use the bathrooms, and he was looking for help in that the township would open some of the public facilities so that he wouldn't have to be the one providing it for the whole village. So I had a chat with Janice, and I know she's been in conversation with Mike, and I wonder if I can get an update as to when we will open our public washrooms so that we're taking the brunt of it off of this particular local restaurateur.
Mike, I think I see you're there. Can you respond to that? Mike, are you able to respond?
Maybe Angie?
Sorry, if Mike isn't able to respond, I can, oh, there, maybe he's all right there. Mike, are you there?
Is it, yeah, I was having some audio issues. Is it possible to have the question repeated?
Yes, I'm wondering when our public washrooms are going to be open to the public, because at this point in time, it's being left to our local restaurateurs to provide that, and it's not really fair to have them provide public washroom facilities.
Yeah, so as of tonight, or sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor, as of tonight, it looks like the porta potties will go in tomorrow. We were hoping for Thursday or Friday, but Johnny on the spot, who is our contractor, is too busy on Thursday, Friday, so they want to install them tomorrow. So they'd be available tomorrow evening, and then we'll open the arena washrooms because they're easier to keep clean, and the ones that are access to from the exterior only, and the washrooms at the campground, keeping the showers unavailable to the public. So we'll have regular washroom facilities that people are always used to at the Lakefield Beach. We will have everything the same as always for other facilities, and we'll have the arena open with the marina washrooms still being left for the seasonals only.
All right, is there any other locations in the township?
All the usual ones. So you'd have Ennismore Waterfront Park will get their porta potties. You'll have Paul J. English will get its usual ones. You'll have the Shamong Park will have its normal complement. The tennis court at the Ennismore Complex will have one. Jones Beach will have a couple. Just looking through the list here. Yeah, so those are the only one that we traditionally have that won't go out this year unless things further open is Burritt Man, because it really is only a playground and playgrounds are still closed. So we don't want to send the confusing message that the playground will now open, because other than, you know, a little tract of grass, there really is just a playground there.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for doing this because, as I said, it was getting critical. What about Centennial Hall?
If Sarah's still on, that's probably easier to ask her. We've never, that's always been the library. And then I think it's only been available to people who shop at, either have an event or are shopping at the I can never remember if that's Treasure Trove or if that one's the, what the name of that thrift shop is. But the only other one that has been opened in past would be through Kawartha Chamber of Commerce, downtown Lakefield. That would be the only other one. So I can contact Sherry tomorrow and see that if that's something that there's a desire, or I can try and email her tonight if that's what council would like me to do.
Just in terms of the Centennial Room, that washroom actually isn't open to the public. It's part of the rental for the Centennial Room. I think though the library traditionally, when it's been open, the public washrooms have been available. So of course, with the library closed and the requirement to close, we cannot open those washrooms.
Okay, it'd be great if Sherry can be contacted. Thank you. Thank you very much, staff.
Donna?
Yes, through you to Mike. Mike, are you still reducing the Ennismore Community Center porta potties by one, the one down at the Hardball Diamond?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, each location is actually being reduced slightly. So Paul J. English normally has 4. It's going to get 3 in total. The Ennismore complex usually has 4. It's being reduced down to 3 because there just isn't the usage. You know, the Monday night car shows would have been big usage, and without that, or without the contact sports or team sports, we have less. So there's not a significant reduction, but one at each of those 2 locations. It's hard to reduce some of the other ones because, like Jones Beach is an example. After July 1st, we usually put a 3rd one there, but we won't be adding the 3rd one. We'll keep the 2, one accessible, one regular.
Okay, thank you, Mike. That's good.
You're welcome.
Anita and then Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with regards to cleaning the porta potties, are they cleaned a couple of times a day, or how often are they cleaned or sanitized?
Through the PPH, or sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor, through the PPH guidelines, it's twice daily. So fortunately, through the Canada Summer Jobs grant, we do have part-time staff that can pick that up at no cost to the township, and be assigned to that and get them working, because we still have quite a few students that aren't able to find work this summer. So it's a win-win-win in that case. But they do get done twice daily, 7 days a week, as per the guidelines of sanitation through the PPH.
Jerry?
Thank you. Through you. I'm glad to see Jones's Beach getting done sooner rather than later. My neighbors are getting tired of watching people do their business behind trees, literally. Now, you had said that you want to drop it down to 2 at Jones's Beach. First, I'd like to know what the thought process is in there, because my thought process on that is, because there's no organized sports this year, junior golf memberships have shot right through the roof because they want little Johnny to get out there and burn some energy, because there's no baseball, soccer, any of that. That might lead to more people going to the beach just to get away and get out. And you also mentioned that, the summer jobs may not be there. That might push more people to the beaches. Have you considered maybe keeping the status quo of our normal quota of washrooms at the beaches, just because there may be an influx this year?
That is absolutely, sorry, again, through you, Mr. Mayor. Again, that's absolutely something we'll keep an eye on. We don't normally add the extra one until after July 1st, which I realize is only a week and a day away, but we're not even sure we're going to be allowed to have swimming lessons there. And that's one of the reasons why we traditionally add that third one, is there's a glut of people who have to stay there for a longer length of time. So we will keep a very close eye on that and not make sure the service level reflects the use. And you know, we're hoping that the tradition of lakefront swimming lessons can continue, but you know, right now it looks like there isn't clear guidance that we can open things like swim platforms and stuff like that. They fall more under the exercise equipment and playground regulation than anything else. So we'll keep monitoring that, and if we can, but we'll certainly keep a very close eye on the washroom and facility situation.
Through you to Mike. When do the summer students start, Mike? Have they already been hired?
Yes, we had existing summer students from last year that we were very happy with, and being able to re-employ them again after training them and getting them up to speed and Selwyn ready was really, really nice. So we have a couple hired who were existing staff and stayed with us on a part-time basis throughout the winter.
So you have enough staff to do all these porta potties twice a day then?
Yes, we do. It's not exceptionally long shifts because it'll be about an hour and a half to 2 hour run to do them. So they'll do that a couple of times a day. And then one of them who's hired in parks will pick up some parks duties, gardens and things like that. And the other one who is hired for facilities will be able to help out there, but especially in the marina.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Valentine, you'll be happy to know that they both live in Ennismore.
They know what they're going to be doing?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Any other questions, Sherry?
Thank you, Drew. I don't have a question. I just want to thank staff again for acting on that very quickly in these unprecedented times. And I'm prepared to move the recommendation, which had nothing to do with this.
And Donna is seconding. Any further conversation? All those in favor, raise your hands. That's carried. We are now into consent items. Does anybody want to pull any particular item? Anita, what would you like?
There's three, 5C, 6A12, and 6A3.
Okay, so 5C, 6A12, 6A3. Okay, anybody else want to pull anything? I'm going to pull 7A, and I also wanted to speak to 5C. Okay, so let's begin with 5C. Anita?
Thank you. So it's great news that the funding is going to come through. I think on Chuck's News, it said that, like, I know we had actually, as a townships, put it in our budget to do the sidewalk at some point. But it almost sounded like this grant money is actually going to also cover the sidewalk, or did I get understanding it wrong?
Did somebody want to speak to that? I can speak to it if you want. So Anita, just first of all, let me also add my appreciation to both the provincial and federal governments, as well as to the county. This is a really good example. We've got 4 governments working together on a single project here. So that is that's really a positive thing. So just to go over the numbers, and the staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've written down. So the federal portion is $4,787,500. The provincial portion is $3,191,348. and the local portion of which we contribute a part, and that's the part that's in our budget between us and the county, is $1,896,153. The project deals extensively with the causeway. It's improvements are being made approximately 1.4 kilometers of the J.A. Gifford Causeway, including repairs to the Chemung Bridge. An additional 5.3 kilometers on Yankee Line are also being rehabilitated. And from our perspective, we're doing the sidewalks and the street lighting. That's the part that's our responsibility. So a great deal of thanks to the provincial government, to the federal government, to the county of Peterborough, and to our own residents and ratepayers. So I hope that sort of clarifies it for you, Anita. Okay, Donna?
Yes, through you. For some reason, I'm not certain where we're putting the streetlights, if they're going to be going all the way across or if they're just at the area of the bridge, the high part.
I will ask either Angie or Rob or whoever has that information.
Actually, Lane might be the best person to answer that. Sorry.
Lane.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. It's my understanding that the plan is for the pedestrian lighting to go all across the causeway with concentrations at the bridge area.
So there'll be some lighting across the bridge, but most across the causeway, but most at the bridge. But there will be some lighting all the way along.
That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else had to comment on 5C? No? Okay. We'll then move on to 12A3, which is Anita.
Thank you. Actually, 6A3, it's with regards to the Public Health Board meeting summary. I noticed that Dr. Salvatierra says that our local area rate is 61 cases per 100,000. And I was online today, and so we're province-wide, it's 234,000 per 100,000. So what I want to say is that we are doing a really excellent job here in our area because we're 61 per 100,000. My concern is that the GTA seems to be like the hot spot, and of course a lot of people are going to be, heading to our area, and they're requested to self-isolate. But I guess what I'm saying is it's just really important that all of us continue to be vigilant and also follow the provincial guidelines or the health guidelines to try to keep ourselves safe, because we don't know that all the people that come here are actually going to self-isolate for 14 days. But I just wanted to make that comment.
It's Andy. Let me just, if Rosanna was here, what she would say is 6 feet apart, wash your hands regularly. If you're not feeling well, stay at home. And if you're in a position where you cannot distance to 6 feet, consider wearing a mask. Those 4 straightforward things are stuff that people should continue to do, whether they're here in Selwyn, whether they're in Toronto, or wherever they happen to be. Follow those guidelines. Okay, and then no other comments on that. We're on number 12.
Okay, that's me again. This is a Kawartha Chamber news flash from June 9th. They talk in here about the province allowing short-term rentals. Yeah, short-term rentals are permitted again. So what are the public health requirements for people who have rental units available for the short-term rentals? And also we know that we've got a couple of locations in the township that have been really problematic and causing the neighbors a lot of concern. So just basically my 2 questions would be with regards to do the people who have short-term rentals in our township, are they aware of the public health guidelines? And also the problematic short-term rental, have they kind of been forewarned again to behave themselves?
Well, Rob, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think I can. I suspect that if they're responsible short-term rental operators, that they would be familiar with the ministry's or the province's guidelines, and they would ensure that they're followed. Those who maybe aren't as conscientious, may fall short of understanding all of the criteria, but we haven't had, we actually haven't had a lot of complaints this year. I think largely because it's not been a very busy season, or that they were closed for a period of time. So certainly we do have a process that has, I think, been beneficial in terms of having some additional leverage so that we could ensure that the landowners or the operators of these businesses would feel some pain if indeed they weren't operating their properties in accordance with our bylaws. Of course, if they weren't operating them in accordance with the province's criteria, then of course it would be would be a matter for the province to address.
Okay, Donna, did you have a question?
Well, it does say under the health board's presentation or summary for short-term rentals permitted again, it does say that there's a link there. So, but I don't know if those short-term rental people, I know bed and breakfasts have to get a license from us. So when they're getting a license, we could insist that they view that webinar. I'm not too certain that we can do anything about the short-term rentals because I don't think they need permits. Is that correct, Rob?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. That's correct. Yes, so bed and breakfast operators are licensed, and yeah, I think if they were to make application, we can certainly let them know or make them aware of the fact that there are education opportunities for them through the link that you're referencing. But we do not ask for short-term rental operators to obtain licenses, so we don't have that opportunity to discuss it with them as part of a licensing application. But again, if we are speaking with them through, say, attending to a complaint, we can certainly, again, just as part of an education process, let them know that there are opportunities available to them.
Donna?
So the person that issues the permits to the bed and breakfast, could they be specifically told to inform the people about this webinar to make sure it's not just left loosey-goosey? Could we make that official?
Yeah, so what we could do is just as a blanket, we have obviously we have their information. Typically we communicate with them, via email. We could certainly send them that link to be proactive about it.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Any other comments on that one? Not seeing any. The last one was the one that I suggested. I just wanted to make note that of the update notice for work being done on County Road 20. And so there is a number of activities that are taking place. So the rehabilitation of the existing roadway, ditching in certain areas, one new cross culvert is being installed. There'll be new pavement markers. There'll be new signage. And at the great championship, I've got to say, of our deputy mayor, who let no stone unturned, there will be illumination installed at the intersection of CR 18 and CR 20. You may have heard Sherry speak to that before. So perseverance does pay off, Sherry. So well done. What isn't included, because this is just this part of it, the multi-use path or the medium bulb outs, those are not under consideration this year. And that would be something that would have to come back to County Council in the future. I don't know, Sherry, if you wanted to add to that.
No, no, you've covered it all, but I am willing to move the consent items.
That's right, good. And seconded by Donna. All those in favor? Thank you, colleagues. So we have no petitions. Portfolio updates. We'll start with Donna.
Yes, I haven't had any further committee meetings or board meetings since the last council meeting. The only thing I'm not certain about is a question to Angie about the link. What's the status with that?
Thank you. We're actually going to have an update report for council on July the 11th.
Okay. And yeah. And one other thing, apparently there's going to be a CBC documentary airing in July. I haven't got the specific date, about related to the cottagers and Indians, but they're not going to call it that. I just forget the title of it now, but I could maybe send around an email. And it's a very short documentary, and it just presents the 2 points of view, but I don't think it's really going to move anything forward.
Thank you, Donna. Economic development, Sherry.
Thank you. There's actually something that I want to add that I heard at one of the teleconference meetings that we had is, and I don't think it's been spoken about at council, and I keep forgetting to tell Councillor Valentine about it, but there is a child exploitation unit locating at the OPP Peterborough detachment. It's called Project P. P stands for pornography. And they're going to have a 5-member unit plus a sergeant there. So they're going to be working out of there, dealing with that for a good part of the province. And I thought that was good that they're locating in in Peterborough. There are a couple of new patios that are opening. The Cassie's Bistro is opening on June the 25th, and you have to make reservations for lunch or dinner. And it's my understanding they're going to have tables down the alleyway that's beside the restaurant. And Jesse's is having an outdoor patio behind the restaurant. They're opening tomorrow at 4. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Jerry, on Public Works and Recreation.
Public Works, they've been doing some hot patch mix. That's that black stuff you see where it looks like the tires drove through it. So it spreads out in front of the tires, and then the tires pack it down on the roads. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's a good quick fix before they get to tarring and chipping the road. And hot off the press, washrooms are going to be installed tomorrow and ready to use for Park and Rec. You heard it here first, maybe second.
I think you got scooped on that one, Jerry. Okay, Anita.
Well, I don't have anything specific to my portfolio because we haven't been meeting at all. Any of the committees haven't been meeting. Obviously, most people are still kind of isolating or staying at home. But I did want to ask a question with regards to our Selwyn and the Community Futures funding. I'm curious to know how many people have actually, or businesses have actually applied for the funding under that grant program.
Angie, do you have those numbers in front of you?
If I remember the report correctly, I think it was 46 or 47.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, and one more comment. I want to congratulate Sherry. You are such a great ambassador when you drop into local businesses and restaurants, and you're just snapping pictures all over the place and that. So you're kind of filling up the Facebook feed with all the great businesses that you're visiting and doing your part to promote.
Great,
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
costing me a fortune and I'm gaining weight.
Okay, just for myself, most of the items we had talked about, I just wanted to return to a couple though. The health unit we spoke about, and thank you, Anita, about the low rate per 100,000. The other thing that we've done well in our area is our testing, and we've done really well on testing, including we had testing done in Selwyn Township on one day with their mobile testing unit. And we had a significant turnout that day. Everything worked really well. I just want to thank staff because our staff helped coordinate all of that. And so that's very much appreciated. Testing is still available in a drive-through basis in the city for now, and they're looking at whether they will be coming back out into the township. So that's a great community effort, and it's also shows a great partnership between the hospital, between our paramedics and public health. So that's I just wanted to mention that. We talked about County Road 20, and we did talk about the causeway again. Thanks to the provincial, federal, and county governments for this project. It is the largest single infrastructure project in the history of Peterborough County. So it's a big piece of work. So it's great to see that all come together. We'll move on to other new and unfinished business. We have 2 items on there, and I know that one of the councillors has indicated to me that he wants to bring something else up. So first of all, let's do with the 2 items that are on there. There's a request that a special meeting be convened on July 14th at 3:30. I believe that's in advance of our regularly scheduled meeting. The building and planning review is almost complete. We had a good briefing in the committee on it. It had the recommendations or draft recommendations were available for public comment, and there will be a draft report coming shortly. The idea is to bring it to council on the 14th, and so we're going to need a resolution for the special meeting or to answer any questions. Donna, and then Anita.
Through you, I have a question, and I would rely on the deputy mayor and yourself because you sat in on the review for the Economic Development Committee. Do you feel that the Zoom process is appropriate to have a good exchange, or do you think we could try and set up a face-to-face meeting? I'm not sure if it has to be public, and if it does, then we can't do it. But if we just had council and staff and the consultants, I'm just wondering if you felt that it was appropriate and easy to have a discussion via Zoom.
I found it okay. If I had my choice, I'd obviously do an in-person meeting, but I found that we had a pretty good exchange, but I'll ask Sherry to comment on that.
I think it's always better if we can meet publicly when we're face to face, because sometimes questions come up when we're all together in the room, and it's a little easier to deal with it that way. Would we be ready to have a meeting like that on July 4th?
Donna, go ahead.
I think my question was what Sherry was starting to ask.
Can anybody hear me? No?
Yes.
You can't. So I've lost your audio again. So Donna, just say something.
Could we ask staff if they thought that it would be
muted by the host? So
sorry. Could staff suggest how many people it would involve, and if they thought it would be viable to have it face to face?
I could try to answer that if you wish to. So I guess at this point, we don't have any arrangements in the council chambers right now to manage the physical distancing for.
So Sherry, if you can hear me, take the chair.
Thank you, sorry.
Go ahead, Angie.
Okay, yes, so we have nothing set up in the council chambers for the individual council members at this point. The other issue we have is if it's a public meeting, you know, it would be difficult to limit the public from, you know, want to come to the meeting.
Okay, I wasn't sure that it was a public. I thought it might have just been a council information meeting, but if it's public, I know it's not viable at all.
Yeah, it would definitely be considered a council meeting. So okay. I think that in order to keep things moving along, we would need to have it through Zoom. And certainly the facilitator, Todd McDonald, and his colleague, Bruce, would be available to join the meeting, speak to the report, answer any questions that council members may have. Yeah, I think we're making the Zoom meeting certainly work virtually, and there will be lots of opportunities for council members to ask questions.
Okay, thanks, Angie.
Okay, with the exception of we keep losing our mayor here.
I was just going to move that.
At date and time?
Yeah, July 14th at 3:30.
And what time is our council meeting that night, Angie?
We would have potentially committee of adjustment as well. So I don't know how many applications we may have. So committee of adjustment, we set aside 5 to 6 for that. And then the council meeting would start at 6.
Okay, so 3:30 to 5 would be this meeting with the consultant?
Correct.
Okay, is that sufficient time, do you feel, council? Donna?
Yeah,
I was thinking I don't know if Anita, it's a problem with your job or not, but, or Jerry, 3 would be better, and then we wouldn't be rushed. Because it is a very important and expensive item that we have put funds into, and we want to get it right and hear all the information and have a chance to discuss it.
Well, generally I am home if my regular schedule works out. I'm generally home by 3 o'clock or 5 to 3. So I could, you know, 3 would work for me, or 3:15.
Would you like to do 3:15 maybe?
Yeah, that'd give us another 15 minutes.
And I'll pass the chair back to the mayor.
Thank you. So I gathered from what I missed that we'll do a Zoom meeting from 3:15 to 5. That's the motion. Somebody to move it. Donna, seconded. Seconded by Anita. All those in favor?
Ethan had already moved it, Mr. Chair.
Oh, sorry. Anita had already moved it?
Yep.
And who had seconded it? Anybody?
Donna.
Donna. Okay. All those in favor? Thank you. Okay. We're on to AMO delegations. So colleagues, we need to make a decision tonight for our AMO delegations. And so just before we start, we are going to get, and I've had a discussion with staff, so we're going to get a report at our next meeting about the transportation link. Part of that narrative is that we're having, given COVID and given the difficulties in bringing up the service in the midst of COVID, particularly with the university looking at perhaps not having their student body in the same numbers they normally do. They hadn't made those decisions yet. And for a host of other reasons, I think staff is going to ask council to think about defer or extending the project, or asking the province if we can extend the project. And so one of the things that I would suggest we may want to do is to follow up that request, if that's what we do, at the AMO, to just reinforce that. So if council decides they don't want to make that request of the province, then obviously we won't go ahead with it. It's just that we have to put in the request now before we deal with that report. So that would be one that I would like us to put forward. Anybody have any others? Donna?
I just think I read that the only people that can be involved in the delegations have to be actually registered for the conference. And I was wondering how many council members are registered, because I know I'm not. So just you, Andy?
Yes, me.
So, sorry, we'll help you with ideas.
No, that's okay. I don't mind making the delegations. Is there any other topics? Do we want to go back at long-term care again, or I'm looking at Sherry. I don't know what your view is on that.
I hate to miss an opportunity to go again for the long-term care, but given what's happened with this COVID, I'm not sure what their priorities are going to be with that. So leave it to my colleagues as to what you think.
Jerry, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I think the long-term care is a great opportunity because they're going to want to pump money into infrastructure to try and kickstart the economy when it comes to that, and CRA inspectors, as far as I'm concerned. So by giving money for beds, that then kickstarts Aon's build, thus helping the local economy. So it might not be a bad play right now if you made that angle.
Okay, I see some nods. Okay. So that's two. Anybody else have a third one? Okay, Sherry?
And making the pitch to get money to for whatever we lose from COVID.
Yeah, that's yes, that's to ask the provincial government to expeditiously provide help to municipalities who are experiencing revenue losses and increased expenses. So that would be three. Somebody want to move that we do those three? Moved by Anita, seconded by Donna. All those in favor? Great. Now move on to I've been notified that there is a councillor who would like to make a notice of motion. Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor. So over the weekend, and I think we may have all heard a little bit of things going on, but there were some major issues at some of the hot points that were mentioned in this motion, i.e. Birch Island Road, Old Burley Road down in Fife Bay. There were some incidents. Part of the Birch Island was that the gate wasn't open for the Selwyn Conservation Area. That helped things along. Basically, we've seen an influx of day trippers coming in from the city. If you take a look at the license plates, this is creating log jams at certain fishing locations and beach areas and rapids, if you will, at Burley. It's creating congestion for fire trucks, ambulances, police, my pickup truck for that matter, trying to get down Old Burley Road. There's people who can't get to their own homes because people are blocking their way. The respect level is zero for the people who actually live along there. I know on Birch Island there were a couple fist fights between property owners and the people because they'd had enough. And frankly, living where I live by the Dutch Marine, I see it all the time. These weekend warriors come in and they think they own the joint, and they just don't care. So I attached with our motion, or with my motion, numerous pictures. I'm not going to go through every one, but there's a couple that really stand out. One is the Old Burley 2 picture, and there's a red pickup truck. That's the fire chief who I talked to on Saturday and Sunday. That's the chief in there on Sunday after I was there. He's about an hour behind me. and you can see two cars, or the cars on each side. I don't know how an ambulance would get down there. The ironic part is there were two pickup trucks parked there with Toronto Fire stickers on the front bottom left of the windshield, which you'd think they'd know better, but what the hell do I know? The other Birch mailbox one, you'll see there's a red arrow on that one, and that's where their mailbox is. So this situation here caused in part by the gate being closed to the conservation area, which Andy worked great on Saturday afternoon, late Saturday afternoon, I might add, to get that thing open first thing in the morning. That still occurs during the week. The post office girl drives down there. She's got to park in the middle of that cul-de-sac because the people are parked there. And I had numerous conversations. Janice and I had a great conversation the other day, and she thought maybe because with the gate open, that wouldn't happen. It happens all the time. If the post office has got to park in the middle, mail delivery is only Monday to Friday. So it's happening. We got an email today from a lady on Old Burley Road. Jam today again there. I talked to Jennifer at Burley Island Lodge. It's jammed there again today. It's Monday. So we've got to address these parking issues for the good of our residents, for the good of our environment, for the good of everybody around here. Again, I welcome the tourists. A lot of them aren't tourist dollars coming in. They're here to fish. They're gone. They're not spending a whole lot of money. So it's interfering with some of our recreational activities for those who come here cottage and want to go out. So in talking to Janice and with Sherry wanting to second this motion, basically we want to take a look at a parking bylaw and get no parking signs up, and for staff to take a look at the Old Burley situation or Old Burley Road situation, because you can't necessarily have no parking down one side because you've got the same problem there. And I get that there's a bunch of different organizations involved there and who owns what. So I guess the motion is to have staff take a look at it. In the meantime, maybe put up some no parking signs now is a discussion that has been had too. So I'm looking for support to have staff help alleviate the problem for our residents who are minding their own business, our residents who are paying taxes here, and our residents that need our help is what we're looking for.
Jerry, could you actually read the, since it wasn't part of the agenda, could you read the motion into the record, please?
Okay, whereas the safety of our residents and our visitors is always of the utmost importance, and whereas the enjoyment of public boat launches, beaches, and picnic areas are for all to enjoy, and whereas parking issues and police involvement is at a cost to all of our residents, and whereas emergency vehicles cannot traverse these areas safely and in a timely manner, and thus creates a safety and liability concern for our township. Be it resolved that staff be directed to bring back a report to our July 14th council meeting, which includes ways to alleviate the parking issues and ways to enforce the situation. At present, our hotspots include Old Burley Road, East Street in Fifes Bay, Birch Island Road at Selwyn Conservation Area. And that's moved by myself and seconded by the Deputy Mayor.
Okay. Comments, Donna?
Yes, I certainly am in agreement with this notice of motion. I just wanted to make a friendly amendment to it because I felt that some member of the public may read it and feel that if they didn't live in one of these three areas that they may be left out if they had issues. So what I wanted to add to the end of the notice of motion is, and staff apply the same lens to similar issues that may arise at a future date. So if that would be acceptable to the mover and seconder, I think it would just free us up if somebody felt that they were being left out.
Jerry, are you comfortable with that as a friendly amendment?
Yeah, as much as it's each situation's on an individual and stands on its own merit, I would go along with that.
And would the seconder go along with it? And the seconder's okay. Okay, Donna, so they both agree that would get at it. Any other comments? Anita?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank Jerry for all the hard work, and those photos, you know, are worth 1,000 words. Just to see how, you know, people want to have a good time, but they are being rude and creating problems for the residents. And, you know, like you said, if it comes down to fisticuffs, then that makes it really bad. So the more that we can do to stop this particular problem, that would be good.
Thank you. Anybody else want to comment? Not hearing any, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hands. None opposed, that is carried. And we are off to bylaws. So we have the authorizing partnership agreement with the county on the causeway. I need a motion to that. Donna and Anita would second that. All those in favor? And we need a confirming bylaw from Sherry and seconded by Donna. All those in favor? Carried. And we need an adjournment motion from Jerry and seconded by Anita, and all those in favor, and we are done. Thank you, colleagues. Appreciate it. And Jerry, also let me thank you for all the work you did over the weekend. So thank you. Hey, good night, everybody.
Good night.